Hello, my name's Dana Collins, and I'm with the Boathouse here on Hayden Lake. And we just got done having a smoked salmon eggs Benedict with dill hollandaise, and it was pretty good. I have to admit it. Of course, I made it, so it would have to be pretty good. Anyway, I'm gonna introduce my technical advisor over here. Her name's Kaylee. She helps us out at the Boathouse, and she's much more qualified to teach us how to dress a rack. So, Kaylee?
I don't know what he's referring to. But today we're gonna do a rack of lamb. And what I love about this dish is it's super easy and it looks just so fancy when you do it. I have dinner parties about every Saturday and I have my friends over, and this is something that's so simple. It doesn't take long to cook or anything, and it looks so good on the plate. So what we're gonna start off with is some Dijon mustard. We're gonna put about 2 tablespoons in there. After we have that, we're gonna add some panko. If all that you have are breadcrumbs, those work good too. It's just panko is a little bit lighter. I like to put, honestly, just about 1/8 of a cup in there. Just enough to give it a little bit of volume. All right. Next, we're gonna do a little bit of olive oil. Moisten it up a little. And all you really need is a drizzle when it comes to that. Now, the mustard has a lot of flavor to it, so you don't think that you need to add much more, but rosemary is an awesome complement to the rack of lamb. Actually, the best thing about rosemary is that it used to be used to help with your memory, so we'll put a lot extra in there for Dana's dish. Next, we're gonna do a little bit of thyme. Just a little pinch of each of these because they're really strong and you really don't need a lot, but they'll add a lot of flavor. We're gonna add some fresh garlic, chopped. And what complements this so well is the Mediterranean garlic by Uncle Dan's. I'd say just put a 1/2 tablespoon, maybe a little bit more in there. Put it all together, make sure it's blended really well. And I told you this is gonna be easy. That's really all that you have to do. When you get your rack of lamb, what I like to do is let it sit. You want it to come to room temperature. But the best thing about it is, you know, when you have people coming over, you don't want to wait too long for everything, prepping a lot. So when I bring it out of the refrigerator to let it rest and bring it to room temperature, what I like to do is add the seasoning to it. So you're adding the marinade and you're letting it rest both at the same time, and that way it's not taking too long in between. So you just want to put a thin coat over here. Sometimes I get really crazy when it comes to condiments or seasoning, but this really doesn't need it because of how strong all the flavors are in it. Make sure that when you do this, you coat both sides and the corners. Or let's put this spoon away, it doesn't even help. So then you get dirty with it and you just rub down the rack. Flip it over, do it on both sides, make sure you get it. I know it doesn't seem like you would need it because the bones are on this side, but you never know. You want to add the seasoning everywhere. So when you cook it, you want to make sure that the meat side is up, and that way all the fat that's on this side is going to go down into the meat and just add so much more flavor. All right, and that's as easy as it gets. After this, all that you're gonna be doing is putting it into an oven for 450 degrees, depending on how rare you like to cook it. I like mine really rare, Dana doesn't, and so we're gonna go a little bit in the middle here. 12 minutes for rare, and then 18 minutes to about medium. Really with lamb, you don't do it too much more than medium, just because it's delicious the way that it is. It has so much flavor. You don't wanna cook the flavor out of it. So I'm just gonna put it into the oven, like I said, about 450, 400. I have one already cooking in there. And then we're gonna close it up and go visit with our guests. All right, we are ready to take that first one out. I'm gonna pull it out and see how nice the crusting with the panko is on there. And it's just sizzling, it's ready to go. So we're gonna put it right here, and what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna let it rest for about 10 minutes so it keeps cooking a little bit. What I like to do is cover it with some foil while you're doing that. I have some foil over here, and we're just gonna cover it. And it doesn't have to be really tight on there. You can just loosely cover it. And then while we're doing that, we'll work on our side dishes.
Okay, we're gonna have some mashed potatoes with our rack of lamb, and I guess we all know how to make mashed potatoes. You know, you peel the potatoes, you boil the potatoes. I like to save a little bit of the starch water that you boil the potatoes in because it helps to keep the potatoes smoother when you mash them. Of course, we add some butter to it, a little bit of cream, and we're having blue cheese mashed potatoes today. So we've added some blue cheese crumbles and Dan's blue cheese dressing. And boy, it really makes it tasty. But just a little bit of blue cheese crumbles gives it kind of a color, and the Dan's seasoning gives it the flavor. And I think these have just come out beautifully today. And we're gonna be serving those up with the rack of lamb. And also with the lamb today, we're gonna do some marinated vegetables. And what we've marinated the vegetables in is Dan's Italian dressing. We go ahead and make the Italian dressing, and we pour it over the vegetables for about an hour, let them marinate in the dressing. We also add a little bit of balsamic vinegar to add a little bit more flavor to it. But boy, they come out just delicious. So we're gonna heat them up, saute them a little bit, but they're kind of halfway cooked already because of the vinegar and the dressing. Well, according to Kaylee, there's a little knuckle in the bottom, which there seems to be, which I just kind of wiggle my knife around to find my way around it. Other than that, just cut in between each bone. Some go right through, some get hung up a little bit. This is cooked beautifully for Kaylee, medium rare. Although she likes a little rawer.
I call that medium.
It's gorgeous. And there's our lamb. There's our blue cheese mashed potatoes.
All right, so here is the lamb all cut up, and what we used on that one was the Mediterranean Uncle Dan's. And then we have our blue cheese mashed potatoes, which we use the blue cheese Uncle Dan's. And last but definitely not least is our grilled vegetables, and they're just amazing, and we use the Italian Uncle Dan's. So everything here we use the Uncle Dan's, and everything is gonna have so much more pizzazz to it.
It's delicious. Thank you.
It is actually very tasty, and I love the blue cheese flavor in the potatoes. Delicious mixed vegetables, and the lamb is it's not only done perfectly, but has a very nice flavor.
I don't know what my favorite is. I'm thinking the Mediterranean with the vegetables is fantastic, but the blue cheese with potato, that's pretty special too. And I haven't tasted the lamb yet. I'm in for a treat.
Unbelievable. Lamb is tender, absolutely perfect.
I love the mashed potatoes. I will be looking for the blue cheese Uncle Dan's and start using that.
Nice flavors, good combination, very well pointed.
But I've enjoyed the vegetables and the little potatoes because it's a totally different taste than you're used to. Yeah, and I find that unique, and we'll have to start trying this a little bit ourselves.
I love the way that he mixed the vegetables together with that Italian. It's wonderful flavor, good melody.
The vegetables are just absolutely fantastic. And my grandkids would eat more vegetables if they tasted like this. It's all wonderful, and the potatoes too, and of course the lamb's great.
Super One should start carrying this Mediterranean, all of these varieties, because now that we're all being exposed to all these great things, we need to find them on our grocery shelf.